Welcome to Lead Poison.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Lead Poison podcast. As always, brought to you by WhoKnowsAUS.com.au. Please head to WhoKnowsAUS.com.au for issue 1 of their how-to series, How to Paint Your House and Save Thousands. Now, before we welcome tonight's guest, I thought it should be said that although the Lead Poison podcast began loosely based around paint, being that I'm a professional painter and decorator, as well as an extremely amateur painter of other sorts, it has since taken shape around other areas of expression and expertise. I will continue to dive deep into painters of all disciplines, which is very much exciting, but I will also not be shying away from gaining insight into the lives of any artist. I'm finding consistent parallels in the philosophies of my guests, be it behind a brush, in the booth, or anything in between, and with each discussion a uniquely added perspective. That being said, I hope you're enjoying the content so far, and as always, appreciate any and all feedback. As always, my name is Jack, your host, and this evening I am joined by Sydney-based Master of Ceremonies, Keggles MC. Keggles is a member of East Coast hip-hop collective Who Knows crew, as well as Sydney-based funk collective, The Regime. He is a craftsman, an ambassador for the written and spoken word, and above all, a gentleman of the Sydney hip-hop community. His crew, Who Knows, are exploding with new and original music, and his family in The Regime are continually pushing the boundaries of Australian live entertainment, as well as having an album due for release. If you haven't heard from either of those groups, I strongly suggest you visit the YouTube channels in the show notes. Anyhow, enough from me. Please welcome Keggles MC.
Yeah, bro, up in the Blue Mountains. It's where I started making a lot of hip hop music with what became the Who Knows crew. And there's a number of the boys have moved to Sydney in the last few years, but there's still a few up here that I like to get up and visit whenever I can.
There's heaps of people coming out of the Blue Mountains that come down to Sydney and get into the scene, eh?
Bro, it's been there's been notable hip hop exports from the mountains for 15 years or something now. From Dialectrics to Fundamentals, 10th Dan, other side, Josh, Wise Guy and shit, they will come from here. There must be something in the air up here, I reckon.
Yeah, what is it, you reckon? Is it, I've never been there. It's a pretty free-spirited area, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like that. It's got a real small town vibe, but it's close enough to sort of everything that I guess you get a healthy mix of people. I don't know what it is about. I think it's so beautiful that it makes people creative. I think there's so much in the vista and just kind of the vibe of the place, not to sound too fucking esoteric, but.
No, for sure, man. I've heard good things, eh? As I said, I've never been.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite places to visit. I'd like to settle down in the mountains, I reckon. I'm from the Farnham's Coast, originally Lismore. We got a river in Lismore. They got mountains here, and that's about the difference. It's like a small sort of open-minded sort of hippie-ish community.
Yeah, sick, man. And but you're living in Sydney?
Yeah, I've been in Sydney for a decade, maybe just over now. Hard to get a gauge on time after the sort of melt of the last couple of years. But I think I've been in Sydney over a decade just.
Yeah, righto. So where did you grow up then? You said Lismore. Is that where you went to school and everything?
Yeah, bro. Born in Mullumbimby, and then from pretty much 2 to 19, I was in Lismore. Yeah, one year in Darwin, but that was just a weird little trip. But yeah, my folks ended up there, so I thought I'd go up there and finish school. And so I did year 12 in Darwin, but then quickly went back to Lismore and then came to Sydney the year after that. So 30 now. I've been here since I was just before I turned 20.
Yeah, good years, man. I guess 2010, just in regards to the sort of hip hop scene, was pretty pumping back then, eh?
Yeah, Horror Show, Fundamentals. That was big, like 360 pairs, set century times. And then there's always the like, I wasn't aware of the music at the time, but like the stuff from Melbourne, like Checkmate and Broken Tooth. I was aware of Taunts back then, who I was still a mad fan of. I reckon he's like crazy writing ability, mad storyteller. Yeah, it's funny to think about, like, especially the Australian rap scene then. You know, I'm not sure if like Rap Attack had started off yet. I guess like that would have been still like Hilltop Hoods and Bliss and Esso were the fucking pinnacle.
What about in regards to today, 2021, moving into 2022? What's your opinion on the current hip hop scene in Sydney, especially, or across Australia as well? You think about it much?
Not like not comparatively, but yeah, I love the music, right? Like I love writing. Like poetry is the thing that I'm sort of obsessed with. So when I see people doing it well across the sort of subgenres of like rap music and hip hop now, I think that Sydney's kind of stronger than it's ever been as a city. Yeah, obviously with the likes of like 1-4 and Chilling It and like, making, and Vin Sins as well. He's a Sydney cat. I mean, I think he's based out of Spain now, but like they're making like really sort of music on the forefront of style. They're like real up to date. But then we've always had, we've got like royalty and like Death Wish cast that are from Sydney.
Yeah, for sure. Still doing shit as well, which is good to see.
Yeah, I follow it, bro. Like I always want to know like what's new, and when someone unique comes through and it's doing something that seems a bit different, I'm always keen on that. I do have like, there's always there's like, you want to make sure that you're still up to standard. There's a nice bit of competitiveness in hip hop that I think is real healthy. And so when you see people killing it, especially people from your area or from around like where you're at, you can take pride in that. And I don't, I think it's bold for anyone to decide that they're going to express themselves in that way. So I give props to anyone who goes for it. I mean, I spent time in a much more cynical frame of mind about it, being like, oh, it's got to be boom bap or it's bullshit. But that's not even my attitude. I just kind of adopted that from shit I was listening to at the time. It took me a while to like get my own sort of opinion. And I'm just not a hater, bro. I like a lot of shit. I mean, I don't like a lot of stuff, but not actively, I'll listen to it. And then if I don't like it, I just won't listen to it on purpose again. But if I do like it, I want to fucking support it.
Yeah, that's healthy, man. I think there's something about like being an MC and being a rapper that kind of attracts people that have maybe a cynical mindset. And in some ways, you need to incorporate that slightly in different environments and different situations to sort of, as you said, it's a bold thing to do, bro. So you kind of got to have that confidence and a little bit of flair about you. But I'm sort of the same, man. If I don't like something, I'll just, you just don't listen to it. But I got caught in the trap in the early days too, where sort of you're like, oh, fuck this cunt, fuck that cunt. And once you get away from that, it helps your music a lot too, I find.
For sure. And if it makes you more willing to like collaborate or maybe try out something new, which is always fun.
And very important, I guess, because I mean, something I did want to ask you, hip hop, it's been around for, obviously it's a new sort of subculture. It's a relatively speaking, but, obviously as well, there's a lot of people doing it. So to differentiate yourself from the crowd is something that I think you need to, I don't know if you consciously put effort into it or if you just be yourself and hope for the best, because if you do the same thing that's been done year after year, you're not really accomplishing what you want to accomplish, are you?
Well, I've never really been trying to reinvent the wheel with the raps that I make. Like I've got a real affiliation for like big hard beats and just like, so like I want to articulate my ideas clearly, and I want it to be clever. And I'm always trying to like put my best forward, like if I'm writing something. I definitely I agree that it's important to be unique, but then I also these days would try to avoid like a gimmick to try to get attention. But also when I was first coming up, like in my first band, I'd go to gigs and just like put on a crazy dress that I got from Vinny's just to like just to get people fucking looking up on the stage initially, and then like hopefully they enjoy the music that they then hear. I think that I've gotten sort of less and less flashy about it, and more just like I want like my lyrics to speak for themselves. I still love to have a bit of fun on stage, but I kind of get the best of both worlds, because with I've got the band and then I've got my solo stuff. With the band, I can get real peacocky, dress up, and like get to sort of be like flamboyant and active. But then when I'm doing my solo stuff, I prefer it to just be like, it's nothing besides the words. Like if I'm doing a video for that, it'll just be something that complements the song. And if I do a live show solo, then that's just going to be like me wearing like the Who Knows on my jumper, and I'll do the show like that.
Yeah, for sure. No, well said, man. I think that's sort of getting older too. You rely less on how you look and more on what you're able to provide.
Yeah. You want I just want people to understand what I'm saying, and I think I might be big noting, but I think that I write lyrics that deserve a second listen, or like I try to at least. I want it to like, I want to be saying something, even if I'm being like cheeky, like like being a bit like tongue in cheek. I still want it to be like clever enough that it warrants another go. I really, I love storytelling and imagery in music. I love punchlines as well, and so I don't feel like I try to do one of anything all the time. I try to just like write something honest, and it has punchlines in it. It's got a bit of wordplay in it, because I want it to be intelligent and intelligible. I just don't think it's smart and then no one gets it. I'm trying to say something. Like I'm trying to express an idea, and like that idea might be important to me, or it might be like some stupid little thing, but I'm trying to be clear in sharing it. I want us to be on the same page by the end of the tune, sort of thing.
I've been listening to a bunch of your music over the past probably week or so, and obviously I've heard a bunch of it before that. But no, you're exactly. I mean, what you're explaining is exactly what your music sounds like. Your lines are real clever, and there's things that you 3 or 4 bars go past, and you kind of get that aha moment, and you're like, oh fuck, I know what he's talking about. That's pretty cool. So, is that what happened to the dreads? What made you get rid of them? A lot of the videos I've been watching, you got these big thick dreads in them.
Big dreads, bro. Well, bro, first lockdown last year, I couldn't go on holiday, so I made a change. So I shaved it all off and went bald. I went skinhead for 6 months just to see.
Feel the wind in your hair?
Yeah, see if the world would treat me any different. And maybe you won't be surprised, but they certainly do. You roll around with a big lock of dreads on, you get certain you get the obvious, like, hey mate, you got the buds, or like, but you roll around with like a goatee and a shaved head, people like cross the street, It's funny. It's like, it's amazing like what you can do to change people's perception of you. But it's getting rid of the dreads. It's funny because I still feel like I'm the same person, but I feel like I'm in disguise now because I look real normal, and it's cool because I feel like I'm like a psycho in disguise as a normal person.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I used to cut my hair off every couple of years. Yeah. And when you just want a change of identity or something, but yeah, you're gonna grow them back?
Nah, I like this short back and side for a bit, bro. I was growing it a bit because like the lockdown and stuff. I had this mullet going, and it was a bit of a joke, but like I couldn't even take myself seriously. I looked like I was fucking playing AFL or something, and like I got no beef with the boys playing AFL, but it's never been me. It's just like it didn't match any of my fucking outfits and shit. I just looked like I should be on a sports pitch.
It's pretty clear that you've got a respect for wordplay and for words. It's good to see MCs that sort of respect the written word. I'm sure you've got a respect for the written word sort of outside of hip hop, just in general.
I love it. I love prose or poetry.
Where did that first come into your life? Was it during school
or? It was late actually. Like I was actually looking back, and I found kind of the very first poetry I ever wrote. I think I was 17, and I was trying to stop smoking so much weed. And I was, I was still living at home, going to school and shit. I was just like this mad bonghead. I was like pawning digital cameras to get sticks. It was bad. Like it was ugly. And I remember the first night that I was not smoking. I don't know if you've ever stopped smoking or started or stopped smoking weed, but that first night sucks. You can't sleep. And I wrote this poem sort of to myself, and it was like Dr. Seuss shit. Like it wasn't like anything special, but I found that like in my email because my mum actually kept it, and she sent it to me recently, and I was like, holy shit. So the first poem I ever wrote would have been I was 17, but I've always been into acting. I've been a stage performer since I was 14. And so I love the idea of I like words as a way to express emotion. And I studied acting. So like I moved to Sydney when I was 20, went to acting school from like 21 to 24, and like learned a whole lot more about Shakespeare and about the art of poetry. And that I actually had this one teacher named Jill Brown who she opened my eyes to Shakespeare, and that motherfucker was like the first MC, bro. He was writing love songs to the beating of the human heart. That is the most like, when I learned that, I was just like, that is fucking beautiful and mind blowing. And so like, it's like multifaceted. And I like graduated, like I did quite well at acting school, but I was obsessed with rap all the way through it. And I got like this confidence through the college that I was at, that I was like, I'm going to start rapping. And like, I threw myself in the deep end, I didn't know how to do it. So I just started an open mic night with a band in Petersham at a place called the Wicked Lounge. The idea of this pub was it was going to be like hot dudes serving like hens nights, but they could never book anyone. So they just had this back room that was all lit up like a fucking strip club. And like they had a stage and a decent sound system. And we went in there every Thursday for like a good year and ran this show called Cracking Eggs. And that was like my first ever time rapping, was freestyling on stage, hosting this night. And it ended up running for 4 years over like 3 different venues. We went from like Petersham to Glebe to Enmore. And sort of after hosting that a few times, I like penned my first thing, because like I love performing. I've always loved performing. But I thought, like, fuck, it's mad, like saying other people's words. What if I was to write my own? And so I gave that a go, and like rapping over some YouTube beat at my open mic night, and blowing it, like reading it off the computer, but like and fucking it up, and then being like, because it's just my friends there anyway. I'm like, let us start again, sort of thing. And I just kept at it. Like I just was so, it was like a fire in my belly. I was so excited to kind of be building my own reality, like I was like, I made this hip hop night, and then we were doing that. And then I started this band called Lord, like I was with a group of people that formed this band. I didn't like spearhead it. And that was called Lord Street Collective. And we were like a funk hip hop band. We had like 3 MCs and this mad singer. And that, like, we got to play a few shows. We ended up supporting the 4 Hours with Lord Street Collective. And that gave me not only a taste of like what shows could be like, but a bit more faith that I could continue to do it. And it was so fulfilling, bro. Like, I ended up writing my first solo project called Keggles Headed, which is very hard to find. I'd be surprised if you found that online to listen to. It exists, but it's just I don't share it too often because it's pretty gritty.
Challenge
like
accepted.
Project. Yeah, if you know Lord Street Collective, you'll find it on the Bandcamp. Like, it's not a secret, but I just haven't put it on Spotify because like there's a couple tracks that are just like pretty severe, because you're still learning a lot. I was 22 and I not like doing a great deal of fucking self-reflection or anything. So there's a couple of tracks there. They're a little bit like, ooh, especially in this day and age. They haven't like necessarily aged perfectly, but I also back it as like it was the first time I ever sort of did anything really of my own accord that no one was telling me to do. And I managed to finish it. And I borrowed a bit of money to get CDs made because I needed to hold it, like I was proud. I finished it, got mad artwork done. And that was kind of my first 4 years of music was with Lord Street, and we ended up playing lots of shows, a couple of festivals. And then as it does, like people like were moving on to different stuff, and that band, and we actually lost one of the members of that band in like a bit of a tragic accident, and that like really like sent sort of shockwaves, and it was sort of impossible to recover from that. I feel like our band kind of died with him, which is sad, but it just wasn't what it was, you know. Like we were all getting to a stage, like once that happened, it sort of made everyone sort of reassess, and we tried to keep doing the gigs, but it just wasn't what it was. And so that ended up like Lord Street disbanded, but there wasn't like bad blood. It was just traumatic what we went through, and then we ended up not playing anymore. And I felt like, oh shit, because that was the only way I'd ever known to make music was with this specific crew of people. And so I was a bit at a loss. I think this is like 2015, maybe 2014, 15, something like that. I could be getting it wrong, but after that, I was sort of at a loss, but I was still running Cracking Eggs, the open mic night. And I ended up getting a bunch of the Mountains crew to come down to play it. And so we had like 10th Dan and like 3G Network and a bunch of dudes that I hadn't met yet come down, and like we were all just on the level, just straight away, like all like of a similar age. I'm like 1 or 2 years older than some of the boys, but we're all like around the same, sort of like 90 to 96, you know. And I met this dude, James Crops. He's like Cropper. He makes lots of beats for Who Knows and like other people as well. And one of the boys was like, check this song out. And it was Hammy rapping. And I was like, bro, this is sick. Who made this beat? And Crops was like, I made this beat. And I was like, yo, this is fresh. And he was like, you should come up the mountains and jump on a track. And I was like, oh my God, like so excited. Found like new crew who were all like way more similar to me, and like our sort of like full love and devotion to boom bap music, and like really wanted to make that sort of, you know, as we would have said at the time, like true school, like, you know, boom bap shit. And then through that, sorry if I'm rambling.
No, go, please do, man. Please do.
Yeah. I would come up there and met a bunch of the guys, and we made a few songs. And then Crops decided to put together a compilation of all his beats with like different rappers on it. And they were mainly rappers from the mountains, and me from Sydney, maybe another couple of guys from Sydney, Carlos, the Jackal as well from Sydney. But he's moved to the mountains now. I'm actually at his house right now. Like the boys are out there having a chill. And that ended up becoming Who Knows, like that group chat, which was Crops's Agoraphobia mixtape. We decided we're all wanted to do the same shit here, so let's make it a thing. What do we call it? Fucking Who Knows. And so we started our rap crew. And as that was happening, like literally the exact same time that was happening, I met up with a couple of guys through Ziggy, who I'm in the regime with, and we formed the regime at the same time. So I went from feeling like music was done for me and like not feeling like I had any open doors for it, to then starting this new fucking disco funk crew with the guys, and then also getting to satiate my love of fucking boom bap up here in the mountains. And so I just started making a fucking trip up here every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, whenever I could, to hang out with the guys, make music, play shows.
Yeah, for sure, man. How many of the dudes are in Sydney? Are they all up in the mountains, or is it just you down here? There's quite a few of you, aren't there? I mean, I was having a look at the YouTube channel.
Well, we got guys in like Perth, like we got Greasy over in Perth who reps Who Knows. It's more like it's not like a label, it's more like a bannerhead, right? Like something to put our music out through that we can all sort of promote together, as opposed, you know, like power in numbers, as opposed to everyone having this individual YouTube page or whatever. We wanted something to sort of bring it all together. We got so a couple of guys like scattered around, but now the majority of us are in Sydney. Like a bunch of the guys that in the last couple of years have made the move, you know, as they like hitting their mid-20s, they're like kind of bored of their hometown, keen to get to Sydney, play a bit more, play a bit more music and do a bit more shit. And like, you know, people go their separate ways and stuff, but there's still like a core of us that are like on the same shit.
It works in your favor, I reckon, having such a large group. You know, you can under one name, you can just it just seems to be easier to sort of create awareness, and people can go to the one place to listen to everyone's music. And yeah, it's cool, man. I love sort of a collective group in any genre.
Yeah, for sure. That's all I've known, man, ever since Ward Street. That was a big band. And then Regime, we straight up, it started off with like 10 members. Now it's like 18, you know? And who knows, started off with about 12 of us. I think there's probably about 14, 15 of us now.
It's pretty strange, really, that you've had like such experience with such large groups from the jump, really.
My battery's recharged by being on stage. I know I've known that since I was 14, since I did my first play. And like I used to get bashed for being a theatre kid. Like,
Really?
but I loved it. Yeah, people would like call me like, you know, names that you definitely can't say now. Um, and like I've never understand it because I was like, I'm with like all the girls in the theatre club, they like me. Like I don't understand. People were just like they'd be off it. But I found out the first play I did, the like this woman Angela Mitchell, she's like still like a mentor to me. I like talk to her every Christmas when I go up and visit. She gave me the lead role because she saw that I was this psycho little kid. And when I was 14, I was bouncing off the fucking walls, bro. And she was like, you should come do this theater shit. And she kicked my ass, bro, and like made me do it. And the first time that I ever performed for a group, I just got this feeling and I was like, fuck, this is it. I'm going to chase that. Feels good. And I still get the same feeling. I'm 30 years old now. And like when a crowd really feels what you do, it's like, yeah, I love that. I can be high off that for a month. And like, it's all about, I love being an entertainer. It's sort of my thing. So I was never shy about being on stage when I started rapping. So that helped me because I was like, I'm just going to fucking do this. Like I got to do it. It's sort of what was, I don't know. It was like, I don't want to say calling, but I knew what satisfied me, you know, what like satiated my sort of my wants or my needs or my dreams or whatever. And so when I realized that I wanted to rap, I had this thing in my pocket, which was like, I know I can perform and I know I can hold the stage down. And so I needed to get on stage and start rapping more than like start perfecting my pen game first. I needed to like get up there and like figure out how to like, you know what I mean? Like keep the show entertaining, like between tracks, not just when you're doing shows.
It's a hard thing to do, man. I've been on stage a bunch of times and it's difficult. I mean, it makes some people just fucking curl up into a ball and want to die. So if you know you've got that gift, I mean, you're in the perfect position to sort of exploit it, eh?
Yeah, no doubt. And I did it to make myself feel good. Like I wasn't like it wasn't notoriety I was after, or like, I wasn't even like, I've never even been like, I'm going to be the best rapper. I just want to be doing it. I want to express myself. And this is the way I've chosen to do it. I thought it would be acting, but then I realized I'm shit on camera. I'm good on stage. You can be big and I can act like, you know, I can play Macbeth, but I can't be doing any film. I don't have the subtlety. I'm too like fucking
too much energy.
Life. Yeah.
So have you done much? You said you finished acting. What's it called? Acting school?
Yeah, I went to it's now called something different. It's called like Australian Film Theatre and Television. But when I went there, it was the Actors College of Theatre and Television.
And did you do anything sort of commercially out of that?
Nah, man. I did like a lot of plays with the college, but once I graduated, I never acted again.
Really?
Yeah. I just like, I like, I mean,
straight into the open mics, I guess.
Yeah, man. Stage shows are amazing, man. And they take so much work. And then you put it on, but you put it on for a finite amount of time. And that always left me stinging. Because like then you've got like these monologues and these things that you've spent, you know, possibly 6 months perfecting, and then it's gone forever. But you write a song and like you can pull that fucker out 5 years later. And like if you want to, you know, or if it's relevant to do so. And I think that the kind of permanence of releasing music, that appealed to me. I don't know if I was like really conscious of it at the time. I definitely knew that I wasn't like, I didn't necessarily have it in me to continue with theatre because it takes so much work, and like you got to be you're relied on by everyone else in the ensemble, and you got to show up for them as much as you do for yourself. And I was sort of, I was partying, and I was keen to create and to express myself, but I didn't want to be letting anyone down. So I had to theatre a break for a bit. I might end up doing something with it again. Like I've been talking with a director about going and trying to co-write a hip hop musical with some kids in Lismore where I grew up. And we're trying to get that done next year sometime. And that would be like a dream to combine sort of the skills from acting and also get down there with some beats and like teach these kids a couple of things about hip hop and rhyming. Being a performer, I figured out real quick that was what was going to continue to make me happy. And so I just kind of set myself up to be able to do that for as long as I could. It's been very difficult the last couple of years to not be able to, get out there and do that. But I mean, it's been difficult in so much worse ways for so many more people that I try to complain quietly.
Yeah, for sure. No, I understand, man. It's I mean, all that stuff has been stripped away from guys like yourself and anyone involved in sort of live shows. I imagine the regime have been hit pretty hard in terms of touring and gigs like that.
Yeah, well, we had the year of our dreams booked for 2020. And like we were gonna earn like actual money from it to put back into it, because the regime's a lot of people where no one's breaking off a chunk for the gig. We just invest straight back into the band, make sure we can get to our next show, because it's a logistical like nightmare. And so we got all these festivals booked and we were mad excited. But the good news is all of those festivals have kept in touch. And now that it's looking like we actually get to do this for sure next year, we're back on for like Strawberry Fields, Blues Fest, Bellinger Music Festival, King Street Festival. We got to play like the Newtown Festival in 2019 on the main stage. And like I've seen like Horror Show on that stage. I've seen Homebrew on that stage, Fundamentals. I've seen Daily Meds, Peace Nerve, like all these people who I've admired, I've looked up to, and I've loved their music. It was so hectic to get to go, to get to fill the place. Like that year, it was us up there playing the gig, and it was massive. It was like you recognize that many people out in the crowd, like because that's our hometown, Newtown. Like that's fully the regime spot. We used to shut down the train station just when we felt like it on a Thursday night. We'd bring the whole crew there, get a whole crowd dancing. We'd just bask, just trying to spread that. Regime's all about fucking positive vibes, and I know that's so like beaten to death now, but like that music is to make people feel good. And it's mad to do that. I love it for that. But I also want to be able to be like cynical, a little bit sarcastic and braggadocious. And so I get to do all that fucking shit with the solo stuff.
You've put yourself in a pretty good position, man, to be able to sort of combine those two worlds and express yourself differently between the two. Your process for the regime, is it different to your process for Who Knows, or do you just have a rhyme book that you just sort of open up in the jam session and say, oh, this might work? Or do you separate the two?
Sometimes I'll have a verse that will work for a regime track. Our second most recent single, Disco Dimension, I got this verse and it's real like skippy and quick, and like it's on a fast disco song. And I initially wrote that to a crop beat. It was going to go on this EP that I'm about to release. But the theme of like the theme and what I was trying to get at made so much sense in a regime song. It was all about just like essentially what I'm saying. Like I'm here to express myself because it makes me feel good. Like, and so that's a perfect sort of thing to talk about in a regime track. But then there's some songs that just wouldn't translate because they're all like about how I'm the super freshest, and it's not about like the group or about it's not about something greater than just myself. And when it's the regime, but I try to write more for the people than for myself. When I write solo stuff, I'm trying to impress myself. I'm trying to go like, oh, fuck, yeah, that's a bar. And like, I'm more of a perfectionist with my stuff because I can't hide behind a 15-piece funk disco band. But with the regime, I can get away with being a little bit like lazier with the lyricism because it's big shit and it's all about just fitting in that pocket, and people like they just want to know that you're there saying stuff to that music. They don't necessarily care what you're saying. But when I'm doing solo stuff, it's all about what I'm saying. With the regime, I'm like an instrument. I'm one of 20 in the regime. But when it's Keggles, yeah, it's me and Crops. That's it.
There's less emphasis on you.
Yeah, and that's mad. That takes a lot of pressure off and makes, you know, it's a completely different experience seeing me perform a Keggles set as opposed to a regime set. They're like, you know, two opposite sides of the coin. You know, they're so different.
How do they go about including, like, what's the process like with the regime? I'm interested because there's so many members, and the music is so, it's all encompassing. Like it's really. By the way, I haven't recently discovered it. I knew about the regime quite a while ago, but I've recently sort of been probably listening to a lot of it, and it's amazing. Really good music, as you said, just makes you feel good, makes you dance. The hips start going.
We have the musicians, like our band is incredible. Like they're all professional musicians. They all went to like AIM or the Con or like, you know, like name a music school. And so I got the process is chaotic sometimes. Other times we'll all get in a room together. Like we wrote a song called Cold Coolin', and it's all about like, you know, it goes like coke is disco, mushrooms funk, acid is techno, and meth is junk. You know, it's like this mad sort of like rock rap song. And we all sat around the first share house we were all living in a few years ago, and we wrote that in a day, and it was glorious. You know, we were sharing meals. We were getting on the beers. We were walking from room to room, being like, "What do you got?" You know, like not only the lyrics and the melody, but like the song was getting written too. You know, we had this like incredible collaboration. But then oftentimes someone will come in with something, whether that's a verse or like a lick, and then it gets built on. And then as more people add their source to it, then soon enough it becomes like a regime track. But the other thing is there's nothing like that we stick to. So like some of our songs have 3 of the guys on it, and I mean guys or girls, and some of our songs have everyone. And some of our songs are really like melody driven, and they're beautiful music, like love songs, ballads, and some of them are like relentless rap songs. And so whatever ends up like as a finished thing, we take that and we go, that's mad. We try to add to it where we do, but we try not to stick to a fixed way of going about it, because with so many moving parts, it's kind of impossible for that to happen. Yeah, constantly. You know, consistency is a hard thing to come by with so many members.
You'd probably fuck it up if you tried, anyways. You know what I mean? Like the style of music that it is, it's cool that it's just like, yeah, every time I put on a regime track, I'm like I don't really know what to expect. Like I know what to expect, but I'm like I don't know where this is going to go. You know what I mean? It's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, and it's like because of the size of it, we can all enjoy it in a way that doesn't feel like arrogant or whatever, because it's greater than the sum of its parts, right? Like we all add our thing to it, but it can't exist. Like it's not like one person's the main thing. It's like this thing that only exists when like every single person's there showing up, and it's like it's a trip out. Like, you know, so like I recommend the regime to people because I feel like just a small part of this other thing that's, you know.
You mentioned the regime doesn't really have like a sort of a spearhead figure or anything like that.
The brothers, the Stacey brothers, Liam and Matt, they sort of, I would say, were at the front of it, because Matty, he's responsible for a lot of the music. Like he writes a lot of the music on his guitar. That's not to say that other songs aren't written by other members, because we do have songs written by the keys player, the bass player, etc. And then Liam, who's our sort of lead singer, like one of our lead singers, but he's like the sort of the main singer. He kind of steers the ship, you know. It's his vision that we all trust in, because if everyone was trying to run it, you can imagine it would be even more chaotic.
Yeah, you might not even get to the end of a track.
Yeah, exactly. I would say, like, yeah, I've got to give credit to the brothers, because like it's their vision and drive that we've all gravitated toward. And then we all add, like, you know, essential bits to it, and then it exists as the regime. But without, I think, especially these days, without their constant working, especially on the album and stuff, they're doing a lot of the production and a lot of the, you know, the hours at the desk.
I imagine there is quite a lot of organization to sort of handle.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, and we've learned that through experience and trial by fire. You know, that was 4 years ago. We were playing at Subsonic, like, let's say, under the influence, and like we were just getting away with it because it was like charismatic and insane. But we don't want to be that loose crew anymore. Like, we want to be the festival band that's like tight and exciting, as opposed to like me hula hooping with my dreadies going while I'm rapping and I'm just off my head, you know. And that was fun and dope, but it's not sustainable. And we're trying to like do this for as long as they'll keep, you know, hearing us.
So how's the pandemic affected that group in particular? Do a lot of those guys live together, guys and girls?
We have lived, well, a number of the front line, like the singers and rappers, have lived together on and off, pre-pandemic, and then during that first year as well. This year there's been more of a separation. Last year we ended up actually getting a studio on Oxford Street, and that became our hub. And we had that up until about 3 months ago, but obviously we couldn't use it for like the last little bit because there's too many of us to rehearse, unless like before, you know, the vaccinations were all out and stuff. These days there's distance between us. There's still a number of us in Sydney, but people like up the north coast, because they don't want to be locked down in the city. A couple of the guys have gone up home for a bit up in Noosa to be with the family when all this stuff's going on. And we'll all come back together toward the end of this year, I imagine. Our first show, I think, is in December, so we'll all hopefully link up next month, get back in the rehearsal room, and because we've got this set, bro, like, and it's sitting there, and we've had it for a while. It's like the same as our album, or a number of the songs of this album we're about to put out, and so we're just like, we're in this last long lockdown, album's getting finished, and we're just patiently waiting for the gigs to be possible to play again.
Locked and loaded by the sounds of it.
Yeah. It was, you know, it was rough, but everyone's over it. Everyone's just keen to go again, you know. Now it's like we've got beautiful music to share, and it's highly energetic, and it's what we're known for, you know. We're a festival band. We should be seen live, I would say. I like listening to music as well, and you can catch that vibe. It's good energy, but nothing compares to seeing the 19 of us on stage like some sort of chaotic, well-oiled machine. And that's where I get the most sort of juice out of it when we land, you know, when we do a good set. It's like you can't fuck with it.
No, fucking oath.
It's something else.
You must give the sound man a fucking massive headache, I imagine. Having fucking 14 mics or 10 mics or something to share around, and
slowly learning to give them more and more notice. And we have a stage plot now. One time we rocked up to a gig in Newcastle. The sound guy nearly walked out when we got there. We got there 2 hours before, like, and he was like, "What do you fucking mean, 16 people?" And we're like, "I don't know."
That's what it is.
Yeah. And he was so angry, but he ended up sorting it for us, and like it was all good. But he never come good. Even after the show, we thought we might have cracked him with the music, but he was still so off it. I tried to get him a beer after. I was like, "Sorry about that." He goes, like, "If he's ever fucking come here again, you want to send me some information." You know, he was serious.
I don't blame him, bro. That'd be
you can't. I can't blame him either.
So tell me about Ziggy, bro. Ziggy. So how many? Well, I guess first of all, my question is, how many rappers are involved with the regime? Is it just you and Ziggy?
Ziggy and I rap sort of no, me, myself, Ziggy, and Alex and Jose are the rappers. But then Liam, who sings, like he kind of gets on that Red Hot Chili vibe, and he'll like his has some sort of cadence to it. He's got that quicker sort of, but it's so much more melodic. But there's still something to it, you know, something sort of like rap-ish about it. Alex, who is another one of the frontmen, he's got an incredible singing voice, but he's also got bars, and he's like a well-practiced rapper. So he does both. You know, he'll harmonize with Chinta and Liam like beautifully, but then he'll spit a 16 that'll like burn people like it's fresh.
One thing I wanted to ask you was, you know, obviously you're pretty well versed in stage time and you appreciate what stage time means to a performer. What's your opinion on Sydney and being a rapper and having spaces to sort of get your stage time? Do you think there's enough out there, or, you know, I'm talking pre-pandemic or looking to the future even? Do you think there should be more of an emphasis on having places to go, you know, open mic nights, things like that?
We don't have enough small venues, right? Or no, you know what? And medium-sized venues. It's so hard to go from like the Hideaway Bar or Sly Fox and then try to go next up is like Factory Main Room. Like, where's our in between? Where can we get 300 people to fill out a show? What happened to the Annandale, you know? Like, and yeah, and I see what's it called? It's in Petersham. It's like I can't remember what it's called, but they have this mad back room, and I'm interested in hitting them up about shows because you fit about 250 people in there, or possibly more. I think that as someone who like has always gone out and made their own opportunities, like, you know, I didn't know where to start, so I started. Like, I just found a spot, and like I wasn't getting money. I was just going in there. I'm going to be making an effort to put shows on in Sydney as of next year. I want to start putting on Who Knows sort of bannered shows, but then we always have our ear to the ground, especially when cats are making boom bap. And there are some kids coming up now making dope shit. And we want to platform these kids because that was the best back when I was coming up, when like Peace Murph would hit us up to do a Freshly Squeezed. You joking? Hell yeah. You know, that was exciting. I want to get back into that, where like, you know, you've got 6 or 7 acts on the bill and you're going from like 6 where you start off with an open mic and you got a prize for the homies that come through and, you know, they cut their teeth there. And then you just got people sort of that are at different levels of their career or whatever ability, or whoever's got a release, you know, gets to have the headline spot. I think that there's a need for a bit more of it. It is difficult, and I think there's a certain I don't know, PTSD is too strong, but there's a lethargy attached to creating gigs in Sydney because of what's going on with the lockdown and the consistent closure of venues and the noise complaints. And there's sort of like there's a bit of there's a certain
hesitancy or something.
Yeah, there's a hesitancy, exactly. And what I hope the pandemic has done is made people not take it for granted. I think that people are hungry to get out and support people that they know, and they're also keen to be entertained. Now that we know what it's like to not have any access to entertainment, I have faith that more people are going to show up to the shows that we're going to start to put on. I think that we're in a perfect position for anyone who's like a go-getter to start to build something now. Post-pandemic, build up a regular show, put people on, you know, make sure that your venue's paying the act, because you don't like, that's just fair. You're going to bring 100 people in to spend all their hard earned at the bar, then you want to make sure that like some of that goes to the people that are providing the entertainment. Yeah, there's, you know, and it's a shame because a lot of our pubs have gone from live music venues to pokey dens. And like, that's the opposite of what music does for someone. Music inspires, you know, it gives people a break. These things just suck life and energy out of people. But you know, there's more money in that, so they support that. But look, I don't like to complain, bro. If I got an issue or I think something should happen, I'll make an effort to make it happen. And I think that coming out of this pandemic, I think it's a perfect opportunity to get it. And anyone who's making shows or who's got a band or has got like a crew, get to know the venues. Go introduce yourselves, you know. There's less of a hesitancy around hip hop shows these days. You know, like we used to try to book gigs and they'd be like, nah, because our toilets would get bombed. But now people want their toilets bombed because it looks trendy, you know. Like
Fucking oath. Yeah. No, that's really exciting, man. I think with so many members in Who Knows crew, I mean, you'd have the power to approach a venue and say, look, with this 14 dudes, we're going to put on a pretty good show.
I reckon. And like I've got more experience than as we get older. We have more experience than we ever have. And so I feel like going in now that the pandemic's coming to, you know, it's fizzling out, fingers crossed. I reckon I could, I reckon it's very possible and likely. And I got like, Josh is a driven motherfucker, bro. He's mad on the emails. I'm better face to face. Like I'll go in there and meet him. He'll like run the emails, get us meetings and stuff. And then it's just up to us to have enough time to promote it. But I feel like, yeah, we're this close to seeing some great music and at all levels. You know, you're going to see big names selling out and more again. But up the road, you're going to have like 100 cats, you know, maybe at the Hideaway, maybe up, you know, a bit further, wherever it might be.
That's exciting, man. Yeah, I share that excitement for sure, man. I'm looking forward to the post-pandemic time.
Hell yeah, bro.
Who knows what's coming up with you guys? You got any releases coming up?
Bro, yes.
What's happening?
We have so much music coming, bro. Everyone's been busy in the lockdown. So like most exciting for me is probably the Gully Boy project that they're about to drop. Gully Boy makes up of Josh, Wise Guy, Mog Y, who's from Melbourne, who we met just through music. He found Who Knows and was like, this is fresh, and we'll like come for a visit. He's like best mates with the boys now. Like we love Mog. He's like, and he works very hard to, like he runs so much of the social media side for us. For Who Knows, Regime now has like an agent, so like a lot of that's taken out. But Who Knows is like grassroots. It's all us. Otherwise, it doesn't get done. And so we're trying to like combine our powers to, kind of make the next regular fresh show that people are like, oh, you know, how you remember Freshly Squeezed?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
it was consistently dope. Every time you went, whether it was Ozzy Butler or Benji PK playing or Triple One or Lord Street, like it was always so mad. And that was like so good for like meeting people that you might have heard, but you never got the chance to say what's up. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Also, I've got my third solo EP is finished. It's mastered. I've listened to it. I'm happy with it, and I'm just getting the artwork done. And then I'm hoping I'm going to get a few CDs made because I love holding it. You know, I did a CD, then a tape. I'm going to get another CD. I'm not pressing this to wax. Maybe the next one. I reckon I'll be at the level of getting it pressed next time. Because like I want to, if I make an album, it's going to be an album. It's going to be something you listen to from start to finish, and it tells a story. And I respect the art of the album so much. So I've always said I won't do an album until I'm ready to press it to wax. And so that's why it's always been an EP with me. It's my third EP, and it's I love it. I'm very excited about it, and it's all Crops on the beats. And he's like my best mate, and also my favorite person to work with, like as far as producers go, because he takes on my ideas, because I come at him with ideas all the time, and he alchemizes that into the project. He makes it sound like I explain shit like make it sound like a slimy spaceship. And he'll do that for us, and and I send him all the vocal samples. So like we craft the EP together. It's all his beats. I don't have any hands on that, but I always put the vocal samples that we use, and like we structure the projects together. So we've kind of done our best version of that yet this time, I reckon. And yeah, that's going to be called Esoteric Sanctimony. And I'm hoping to put that out around Christmas, and then like Carlos has been dropping singles here and there. I know he's got another single coming out. He actually just showed us it. It's massive. And man, Marks and Crops have got something big in the works, and it's done. And I can't say any more than that, but that'll be out by the end of the year. So who knows? There's going to be like 5 albums by January, or projects, I mean, from different dudes, from Gully Boy, from Crops, from myself, from Carlos. And yeah, you got to follow Who Knows YouTube, because that's the one that gets it, that we just drop videos, and that's where we put all our stuff, and then it goes up on Spotify, etc. But the WK YouTube is like the spot to watch for those new releases.
I just subscribed today, man. I was checking it all out. So yeah, really cool stuff, man. I mean, yeah, all the shit coming out of that YouTube channel is really good, real good quality. All the guys that you've just mentioned, yeah, it's really impressive.
I'm mad versatility now, right? Like it's not just boom bap. It's like we got boys experimenting and making like sort of leaning into different sort of subgenres of it. But it's the quality that I think is like I'm impressed by. These are all my really good friends, and like this is what you want. You want your peers to be like inspiring, yeah? Like that's what I want. Like I love being surrounded by people I'm impressed by. And that's what I get in both of these collectives. I think that's why I'm into collectives, bro, because I'm inspired. I'm inspired by go-getters and creatives. And when I'm surrounded by them, then I'm going harder.
Fuck yeah. You draw on the energy.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
No, that's sick, man. That's really exciting. You got to keep me in the loop, bro, when shit's coming out. I mean, obviously I'll keep my eye on everything, but yeah, hit me up, bro.
Yeah, I'll let you know when the first single of this Esoteric Sanctimony comes out.
Yeah, bro. How many tracks has it got?
7 tracks, but 1's an intro, so 6.
Are you going to do some clips?
Yeah, bro. I've got one that I'm getting animated. My favorite tune off of it's getting animated. That's just me on a real heavy beat, just 2 strong 16s with some cuts. You know, like, as I said, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm just trying to have my stamp on like good hip hop shit. And me and my mate Josh, he's on one of the tracks, and I've been planning I love like getting my hands in like storyboarding video clips as well, because like once you write songs, you get the opportunity to then like make videos and shit. It like adds more artistic like availability. And so we're planning like a sort of Men in Black rip-off video for this one track. And I got like my homie's got this Tesla with like suicide doors, so he's got to lend us it. We're going to dress up in like the mad tuxes, and like that's going to be another video for it. And I reckon that'll be the 2 ones that get a clip, and then I'm going to start working on the album.
Well, listen, man, I'll let you get to your dinner. But I'm like you, I appreciate the written word and the art behind creating a good verse, and you're definitely putting your effort into that, man. I really appreciate that, so good on you.
Thanks so much, bro. I really appreciated this chat, and all the best to you and the kids.
Thank you for listening to the Lead Poison Podcast.